People who don't know what the world is don't know where they are, and people who don't know why the world exists don't know who they are or what the world is. A lesson from the 1st century for people who want to learn and get better. It's a gentle drop in your lap. I do this with no fear at all, knowing that it will completely turn your life upside down and bring you health, wealth, success, and happiness, as long as you understand and accept it. Keep in mind that TNT is a very high explosive, so be careful when you handle it. Over the ages, those who tried to abuse its power have been killed by it. Because of this, be very careful that it is only used for good. Do not use it wrong. For proof, look at what the Bible says, some well-known physical rules, and last but not least, use your common sense. You should read the facts I give you and decide for yourself if they are true. Some of you might only see the spiritual side, others might see the science facts, and still others might just see it as a useful tool to help you get ahead. Even so, a lot of people know the truth, and those of you who are willing to open your minds will see a flood of white light. I owe a lot to an old friend who is an expert on X-ray and high-frequency electrical equipment. When I was a kid playing with electricity, he told me about the first piece of powerful TNT I had in my pocket. I didn't know what it was or why it was there back then, but luckily it's been there all these years. I now understand why he didn't make me understand what it was. He had faith in me and knew I would accept it when I was ready. It took almost 30 years, and I carried my sword up and down the roads, looking for the key for the whole time. Feel in your pocket at all times. I had some in mine. It's mine for the getting, but I have a strong hold on it now, and I will generously split it. I know that if you use it wisely, it will lift all barriers and make the path you've been wanting to take your whole life. I worked for a newspaper for a long time and was often behind the scenes. I talked to famous people and met great men and women. Of course, I looked at them closely and tried to figure out what makes them special and set them apart from everyone else, but I couldn't figure out their secret. Then there was the war, and I didn't understand why other people were making success while my own goals seemed to be getting in the way. I learned that I could sleep in the mud, eat moldy bread, and still laugh about it during the war. This is a part of my TNT. In order to defeat old man fear, remember what I taught you. It worked for me, and I think it will work for you too. I read a lot of so-called success books in search of a great path to wealth, but they didn't help me at all, and I did the same thing with books on psychology and philosophy. But the big secret was always just around the corner. I joined secret social groups in the hopes of finding what I was looking for. But the secret was in every book, in the great orders, everywhere, and right under my nose. It was like the TNT in my pocket. But I didn't do it because of something. You need to figure out what is stopping you. It's there if you don't get it from TNT. Look between the lines if you can't find it in the written word. I did my best to give it to you. After the war, I joined an investment banking group that worked all along the coast. Over the years, I had a big dream, as did thousands of other business people, just to find out that the air castles I built were built on shaky ground. I was scared, though, because something that turned the world upside down financially destroyed all of my air castles. I got lost in the fog, and every time I turned, something hit me. Are you scared? As a leader of the company, I had more duties than before. There was a crisis in our business because of the changes in the world economy, and many people were harsh because they didn't understand the disaster that had hit every business. This caused a lot of stress and kept people up at night many times. I was hating going to work because I thought each day would bring more pain. Things kept getting worse over the next few weeks. What was going on? A lot of times, I thought about leaving the business. Finally, in the last few days of June 1931, I gave up and left. When I told one of the women I had been seeing for years about it, she smiled while knowing what I meant. I will never be able to thank her enough for helping me get back on track. As a leader of the company, I had more duties than before. There was a crisis in our business because of the changes in the world economy, and many people were harsh because they didn't understand the disaster that had hit every business. This caused a lot of stress and kept people up at night many times. I was hating going to work because I thought each day would bring more pain. Things kept getting worse over the next few weeks. What was going on? A lot of times I thought about leaving the business. Finally, in the last few days of June 1931, I gave up and left. When I told one of the women I had been seeing for years about it, she smiled while knowing what I meant. I will never be able to thank her enough for helping me get back on track. One wise man said, "We are all born knowing the difference between right and wrong and being able to achieve. But some of us have to run straight into a stone wall and smash ourselves to pieces before we really know what it's all about." I hit the wall with a great crash, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Many people who noticed the change wanted to know what happened. I told a few close friends because I knew it would help. It's yours all. The book has been used by thousands of people, businesses and groups since I found this idea. Along with this, I have spoken and taught in person and over the radio to many more thousands of people, and I am thrilled to say that everyone who has understood and used the principles and methods described here has had amazing results. Our whole organization's mood was at an all-time low. Everyone was down and scared because of how important the things we had to do were. Because I knew it was right, it was my job to do everything I could to help the other guy. It was hard for me to figure out how to help them at first, but when I used my own way to access my mind, an inner voice told me to talk to them. What's right is right. However, I told myself, I can prove that I am right. And for the next week, I spent all of my awake time going over the books I had studied over the years. The Bible naturally came first. Next came studies in yogiism, the philosophies of ancient Greek and Roman masters, and the philosophies of teachers and students today. After thinking about Marcus Aurelius Antoninus's exercises again, I read Hudson's Law of Psychic Phenomena again. This is another book with a main idea written by a bright doctor named Hayden Rochester. Once more, I looked over my physics, electricity, and light waves books, and found that not only was I right, as I had suspected, but that all of them were based on the same basic ideas. I read a lot of psychology books again and again, and kept coming across the same story. After that, I changed the name to Snippets, and sure enough, things started to move. Always, I've thought that all men and women who use this power are showmen, or as I used to call them when I worked for a newspaper, headliners. Those who make the front page, something makes them throw away the bushel basket they hide their heads under and rise above the ordinary. I'm sure you'll agree. No matter how powerful they are, they will never find a place in the Hall of Fame if they don't become headliners. That doesn't mean they're trying to get attention from the press, since some of them are very shy and are naturally showmen. Some people do strange things or use odd tools to make themselves stand out from other people. Some of them smile in a way that gets things done, others frown, and still others have a charm about them. Sideburns, whiskers, and long hair all play a part. Others wear skirts that flow and unique clothes. Some flair is shown by their red neckties, while others is shown by their fake mustaches. What is your niche? There are many people who are good at business, government, the arts, oratory, and the science of war, but they all stand out in the calcium. Headliners, there are a lot of them. I talk about a few from the past and the present. Some famous people from history who were born around the same time as Joan of Arc are Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, Bismarck, Graham Bell, General Grant, C.L. Holden, P.T. Barnum, Clement So Kitchener, Woodrow Wilson, Joffrey, Sir Thomas Lipton, Foch, Mussolini, Winston Churchill, Charles E. Hughes, Lloyd George, Mahatma Gandhi, Ramsay MacDonald, Will Rogers, Douglas Fairbanks, Roosevelt, and Henry Ford. They have been and still are in all walks of life. I'm sure Gandhi uses this power, and I believe he is the most important person in the world right now. Many shots of him show him dressed in modern, polite clothes, but he has worn a loincloth and big glasses for the past few years and cuts his hair short today. I don't have the right to say that Gandhi changed this outfit for a specific reason, but I think he did it to bring attention to himself for India's cause. I don't try to explain why people who use this power are showmen. You will have to decide for yourself, but know that you can't hide a city on a hill, and people don't light a lamp and hide it under a cover. Once more, only people who are ready to accept them can know the great truths of life. Once more, the thousands of people who use the power for bad have caused their own deaths. Nothing more or less than what we put into life comes back to us. When we think positively, work constructively, and do good things, we get the same back. Because what a person plants, he will also harvest. It is now said that detonating caps are out and warning signs are in. Watch out. A man is truly great when he has an honest goal in life, a fair view of himself and everything else, regularly examines himself, and consistently follows the rule he knows is right, without worrying about what other people think or say, or whether they do or don't do what he thinks, says, and does. Julius Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. Thousands, no, millions of people are looking for the key to health, wealth, happiness, satisfaction, and a way out of their issues. Many men and women have had the secret and used the power throughout history. I'm sure you can too if you think about, accept, and use the ideas in this article. What do you need? Where do you want to go? An old story, I say it again, an old story. Two guys were sleeping on a ditch in Mississippi. Gee, I wish I had 1,000,000 watermelons. One of them yawned and stretched his arms. Ralph, if you had 1,000,000 watermelons, would you give me half of them? No, sir. Would you give me a quarter of them? No, I wouldn't give you a quarter of them. Ralph, if you had 1,000,000 watermelons, wouldn't you give me even 10 of them? No, sir, I wouldn't give you 10 of them. Well, wouldn't you give me one bad one? Say, Sam, I woo. I'm well aware that some people will laugh. There have always been scoffers, but they never finish anything or get anywhere in life. Just feel bad for the person who is doing something or going forward because they have to jump over or go around them. They don't add anything to life other than being a bother. Some of you may just brush this off like you always do and have in the past. But I promise that those of you who are interested and still want to learn can do so and then make progress on your own. Scoffers don't work out. It seems unlikely that there is a clever person who doesn't want to get ahead, but I've often thought if most of us have a flaw that keeps us from really starting. A saying that means a lot to me is, if you believe it, it's so. That's all it is. A vague statement or summary of what I say. A big idea was taught by all the great teachers, like Buddha, Confucius, Muhammad, Jesus, and many thinkers. It's a theme that runs through all faiths, groups, creeds, and sects. To put it simply, if you believe it, it's true. It's true if you believe it. I'm going to quote from the Bible. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It's true if you believe it. Take note of the similarities and boil it down to one word: faith. The day of wonders is over, I've heard a lot of people say, but I've never heard a thinker, a student, or a dreamer say that in my life. People no longer talk about Aladdin and his lamp, or maybe they never did. The same goes for the magic wand, the magic carpet, and all the other things from fairy tales and legends. When I talk about miracles, I mean things that are possible if you have faith. Believe what you say. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in the people you're connected with. Faith in a power, in that thing that decides everyone's fate. Nothing in the world can stop you from getting what you want if you can find faith and get rid of the bad side. Have faith in yourself. Even though it sounds funny, if you really want something, you can get it. We all tend to think about things too much, letting the bad side come out. Our thoughts show up when we say things like, "It can't be done. I'm afraid. What will happen if I do it? People won't understand. It isn't worth the effort. I haven't the type," and other similar things. If you haven't told yourself these things, someone else has, and you've taken them as your own opinion through the power of influence. Why all the excuses? A huge number of times, this message has been written and sent. It's all over the Bible. It can be found in the big brotherhoods. It showed the 3 wise men the way. It was taken by the Crusaders. A lot of important people in history have used it, like Moses, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Shakespeare, Washington, Lincoln, Roosevelt, Wilson, Benjamin Franklin, Edison, Dr. Steinmetz, Barnum, and many more. This secret was known by all wise men, religious leaders, great teachers, Maya gods, yogis, doctors, and wonder workers of all times. Some did it one way, others another. The wise men knew they were just people. You can do it too if they knew how and were able to do it. Stop and think about what made Mussolini tick. What does Amy have? Gypsy Smith, Billy Sunday, and faith. Faith is all it takes, along with the strong belief that one can share their faith with another person. It's at the heart of all great faiths. One person with faith is all it takes to start something big. It does not matter where the thought came from in the first place. Each and every great idea comes from the big plan. Believe, believe, believe. Have faith in yourself and your thoughts. Every great salesperson knows this. They make use of it. That's why they're such great salespeople. Everything good in the world works because someone has faith and can pass it on over and over again. Take some time to think about that. Then think about it some more. Think about it, and you'll see that everything it says is true. A lot of people are envious of the person who seems to be getting ahead and making a lot of money. Did you ever try to find out why? Positive things that people have ever done have come from inside them. Envy is bad. Do. Each of us can reach our goals if we are shown the right way to do it. This can be done by seeing my own attitude. In old age, if you believe it, it's true, and if you have a will, there's a way. This means that your faith, willpower, and confidence need to be strong all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I promise that if it's done, you will leave the people around you behind as quickly as high-frequency electrical shocks move through the air. Take a moment to think about what planned marketing is. There is nothing else but a well-thought-out plan to get you to believe. When there was war, you saw it work. If you're fully aware of what's going on around you, you know that it's still working in every area of life today, just like it did thousands of years ago and always will. While reading the newspaper or listening to the radio, you will remember my main point. You will understand that all of these talks our leaders and top executives give us on a daily basis are meant to make us believe. Those guys know how to do it. Take a break and relax. I'm doing this because a voice within me speaks, Mahatma Gandhi said when he got to England to try to solve India's issues. You can call it a force, something magical, or anything else you want. Some people call it the subjective mind, others the subconscious mind, still others instinct, still others universal thought, and still others the urges that come from within as divine messages or hunches. It's called a voice from beyond, by spiritualists. It works every time, and I'm going to show you how to get it now. A voice talks first, but let me set the scene by drawing your attention to what happens when something is said over and over again. Take a gas knife as an example. You have seen them used to cut holes in steel or break up thick concrete. When you hit something with that tool, the huge force behind it breaks up the pieces and makes a dent or hole in the thing you're hitting. We have all heard of the old way of torturing people by dripping water on their face. You may already know about Kipling's boots. Men are mad about the sound of boots. It's the never-ending repeat that gets through. You know what the first part of the picture means and how repeat works with things. But some of you might not fully grasp what the second part means. But in this case too, it's the repeat that leaves an effect on the mind. Repetition is the most important part of selling because it makes people want to buy something. 100 others, all of which are etched into your mind by repeated exposure. By repeating things over and over, you learn how to grow. Everything you've ever learned was ingrained in your mind by repeating it over and over. You are constantly being told to show that you still believe in your religious beliefs. Over and over, the same science is talked about, reaffirmed, repeated, and repeated. It's easy for the aware mind to connect with the subconscious or emotional mind. Everyone who studies the subject knows what can be done by really getting in touch with the mind. When you repeat something over and over again until you get a clear picture in your mind and make your inner mind click, you have this amazing power at your command. Most of the time, we hear a lot about how powerful suggestions can be. We all know how easy it is to get someone sick by telling them over and over that they don't look good, etc. People who break the law admit because they keep thinking about what they did. As a reporter for a newspaper, I've been to a lot of third-degree meetings. Detectives and lawyers have sat down with one person and asked them questions over and over again until their face was drenched in sweat. The dangerous repeat, the reiteration, the tap, 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 tap through the power of suggestion is what gets people to admit. Smart attorneys and defense lawyers always play to the feelings of the jury, never to their rational side. How do they do it? All they have to do is keep saying and stressing the things they want to stress. They do it with words and different kinds of arguments. There is a pinging sound in the background that makes the jury believe. Remembering this idea of repetition will help you understand why people of a certain race do so well in business. Business, business, business is what families talk about when they get together. They talk about their problems and keep the goal of making money and moving forward in their minds at all times. They are not allowed to forget. They stick together, the idea that came about because it had to, just like a machine or an item does. Everyone knows the saying, necessity is the mother of invention. This is true for all of our wants and needs. A man who is sinking grabs at a straw, and a man who is hungry grabs at a piece of bread. When you push against it, the urges come. You who have been there know what you relied on when things got really tough, and if you heard a little voice inside you. There's no doubt that if you decide to do something, you will do it. But the problem with most of us is that we don't decide what we want or clearly see the path we want to take. If we kept our dreams and hopes in front of us all the time, let go of our fears, and got rid of all our doubts, ifs and buts, everything would come true. A lot of us think we know what we want when we really don't. It may sound strange, but if everyone knew what they wanted, they would get it if they had the drive, the energy, the fight, and the courage to go after it. Where do you want to go? Doing this will give you the drive you need to start. Believe it when you say it to yourself over and over again. I will, I will, I will. Soon enough, you'll have built up the willpower that, along with the other things I'm about to talk about, will change everything and put you on the path to success. It's best to stop reading this right now and burn it if you don't want to improve your own situation in life. But if you want to, you will make progress no matter what job you have, as a seller, an executive, a worker, a writer, or something else. And whether you want money, love, to move up in society, to become a lawyer, or to become a doctor, it doesn't matter. You can use this power to get anything you want, from shoes to a house. What do you need? The base is now set, if you want it to be. Find a beautiful, clear picture of the thing or things you want. Set the exact amounts if it's more sales. No matter what you want, the love of a woman or the love of a man, a new suit of clothes or a new car, this system lets you get it, as long as the thing you want is morally right and the picture is clear and positive. People who know how to plant won't have their plants pulled up, and people who know how to hold something won't have it taken away. Mystic Lao Tzu lived in China around 600 BC. Once you have a clear picture in your mind, start using the tap-tap method I described. Repetition of that image in your inner mind is what will bring that little voice to life and tell you exactly and scientifically how to get what you want. As soon as it speaks, you should take action. Then, as you move, everything that is in your way will vanish. Use this line of taps. The idea is to always have the picture or pictures in front of you to help you see and think about the things you want. Make word pictures of them on a few small cards. The size of a business card is handy. You should always have them with you and look at them as often as you can. Keep in mind that the more you look at them and imagine what they look like, the stronger the effects become in your mind. As an idea, put one card above the mirror so you can see it when you shave in the morning. Allow the specifics of your dreams written on the card to grow as you keep shaping the mental pictures. Keep another card close by to look at while you eat lunch or dinner. Just before you go to sleep, use the cards again. Do not stop. Tap, 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 tap. But writing down your dreams won't help until you're sure that every detail of what you want will stay in your mind until it comes true. Use little cards. Keep in mind that repeating the same idea or thought makes the picture positive. Once you fully understand this, you will know why thought always happens in relation to its target. Take a moment to think. Where did the electric light, the sewing machine, the radio, the computer, the ship, the train, the car, and a million other useful things come from? All of them started out as ideas or pictures in men's minds before they came true. Everything on earth that isn't something that nature makes or gives us is the result of long-term thinking. Thoughts that are strong draw. Thought touch with that something makes everything real, except for natural things. A single thought that isn't followed up on, a flash that is thrown out or lost, is like a cork bobbing around aimlessly and without a reason. But the same thought, the picture of what you want to stay the same, always draws something to it, like a magnet. The magnet's pulling power goes up as its size and strength go up. And so it is with long-term thinking. It draws more things to it as it gets stronger, like how a big magnifying glass that is kept on one spot will burn a hole in the ground. Strong, long-lasting thinking and a clear mental picture of the thing being thought about will also go together. But you have to picture your item or goal in your mind as a real thing. Imagine that every part of the picture is real, just the way you want the thing or ideal to be. The chain will then connect itself, as if by magic. You should now read this again and again until it sticks in your mind. Utilize a mirror every day and as often as possible to improve your ability to focus in addition to the above method. Look at yourself in the mirror and look deep into your eyes until you can see the fire of excitement and the fierce resolution that will replace your doubt and confusion. Know yourself well and keep telling yourself what you want and where you want to go. At some point, you will see in your mind at least a picture of what you really want, and your daydreams will start to come true. Once you understand how this theme works scientifically, you'll know why so many powerful people have used the mirror idea so well. Do not let the pictures get away for a second once they are clearly defined. Use steel bands to hold them. Look in the mirror. So make use of everything that is called luck. Many men bet on her and win or lose everything as her wheels turn. Let these wins go, though, and deal with cause and effect. The Chancellor of God in the will work, and a band. And you have tied the wheels of chance together, so you will sit down from now on, because you are afraid of how they will turn. He wrote Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Writing down your goals and looking at yourself in the mirror every day will help a lot. Soon you won't need cards or mirrors to make the pictures. You'll be able to tap into your subconscious mind without even thinking about it. Do it again and again. Keep hitting all the time. Do not worry about going overboard with your wants and needs. As I already said, you can have everything you want, but you have to get good at doing exactly what I tell you. Stop hoping and start doing. When you think about pictures and keep them in your mind, you take action, because action is just thought that is sparked. King Solomon said, almost 3,000 years ago, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." Don't lose your vision, your mental thoughts. Remember that this theme has been around since the beginning of time. This morning, all I do is give you the message and words of the day, and lay out a simple method that anyone can use. We all know that the truth is in the cake, so if you're not sure if what I'm saying is true, just try it. You will get the new shoes, the car will start to take shape, and the house's bricks will fit together like a magic hand has touched them. It's true, I know it, and I believe it. You know something about how prayer works. How else can you show a deep, true desire or want than through prayer? What things do you want when you pray? Believe that you will receive them, and you will have them. It's true that all of us know how our desires affect us, and how big wishes can change the course of events. Any change in the economy over the years has been caused by people's desire to get ahead. But we have to believe. We have to have faith. Otherwise, our deepest hopes and prayers are just empty words. The great master also said, "If our cancer believes, then all things are possible for him who believes." I have already talked about how repeat of the same thought can lead to belief, and keep it there. You need to do the rest now. Always remember that, as I said before, you are talking to the psyche, that part of us that is really deep down. No matter what you want to call it, universal thinking is the strong force behind that all-powerful power. Going with the flow is easier than going against it, but you need to be in tune with other people and everything around you. No longer should your breathing only work with the air around you. It should also control your mind. Now, align yourself with the mind that sees everything. The words of a great philosopher that the ancients used. I shouldn't have to explain that I'm telling you to tune in to the flow of life. Those of you who understand will see that nature provides ways and means for everything to grow. If you think about this for a moment, you'll see that I'm telling you truths that many people may have forgotten. There's the great basic law of compensation that makes everything right. There's no C. After you get a grip on the power, do not let the results of its usage surprise you. Miracles will be performed. You will do what previously you thought impossible. As certain as night follows day, results will follow in a most astounding manner. Things will come to you from the most unexpected sources. Ideas for accomplishment will pop here and they'll pop there, then follow through. Others may say that as things happen for you, they are mere coincidences, but you are lucky, etc. Dare not what they say. They are the scoffers, the non-believers, the ignorant. Remain steadfast in your belief that they are the result of your own works, coupled with that something. In using this power, you are setting up powerful vibrations among the unseen forces. Therefore, it is not well that you should tell anyone, not even your most intimate friends or relatives, of your innermost wishes or desires, your deep-rooted ambitions. Keep them to yourself. For should some person learn what you are after, they may consciously or unconsciously, due to enviousness or something else, set up counter-vibrations, place obstacles in your way, and otherwise attempt to hinder you. Should barriers accidentally fall or be placed in your path, climb over or go around them, go whistling blindly by till no one. Now remember, it is entirely up to you as to the kind of pictures you create and hold constant and subsequently bring into realities. Analyze this. You are today exactly where your thoughts have brought you, and you will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. You are the absolute boss. Therefore, bear in mind, always the only limit is the limit you fix for yourself. And remember, you start with your thoughts. It may take longer to get some of the things you are after than others, but never get discouraged. Rome was not built in a day. Just maintain your faith, your belief, and keep tapping away. Many things will be added unto you, and your dreams, the positive pictures, will come true. Remember, nothing can stop you but yourself. I know it. I believe it. And it's so. I also am one of those who believes that all things are relative. To my way of thinking, if a man can earn $1, he can as easily earn 10. If he has 2 suits of clothes, he can have 10. The only difference is the amount of energy he is willing to expend, and this goes for acquiring $100 to $1,000, and from then on, it is a matter of only adding ciphers. There is no limit as to what a person may do or secure, provided he makes up his mind and steadfastly and determinately moves towards his goal. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if that will have the dig, an ancient saying, as I said, under detonating caps. Be careful how you use the power which is to be yours. It will act as a boomerang and destroy you and everything you hold dear if you use it for evil. Therefore, only use it for doing you and others the most good and bringing happiness for yourself and those around you. Do not talk or boast about what you may have done for others or of your good deeds. They will speak for themselves. Just continue to give thanks for the fact that you are on your way. That's enough. Use it only for good. What is personality? What is it when you get in the presence of another person who has personality? It grips you. What is it that causes you to feel his very presence that overshadows you? It's nothing more than a dynamic force coupled with willpower, which is drawing from that huge reservoir of the subconscious. There are millions of people who have this personality. Some say it's natural with them. Perhaps it is, but they are unconsciously using this power. In other words, it's sort of been thrust upon them. And when that thing called personality is backed up with willpower, things move. Have you got it? To my way of thinking, selling bonds, books, clothes, insurance, electric service, washing machines is no different than selling any other commodity, selling yourself or selling ideas. I have found that trying to put over an idea, firstly, I have had to believe in the idea, dream it, eat with it. I had to have it with me every minute of the day until it became part of me. The old idea of repetition again, and I know it works. In selling commodities, you have got to know what you are talking about, and only hard, personal, persistent, intelligent study will enable you to do this. One more thing, and that is, keep informed as to what is going on in the world about you. You never know what a prospect may be interested in, and it's sometimes necessary to get his attention or your break entirely through irrelevant subjects. That's why I repeat, read the newspaper, current periodicals, and read them thoroughly. I don't mean read every detail of some murder or suicide, but get a digest of the day's news. Awaken, know what is going on about you, get understanding, keep step with the world's affairs. The better informed a person, the better equipped he is to get what he wants. Don't forget that knowledge is power. All of you should know that by this time. He who knows others is clever, but he who knows himself is enlightened. From the sayings of a wise Oriental, increase your knowledge, and the scope of your activities will be enlarged. And the desire for greater things, larger things, will come automatically. And as they do, the things which you previously thought you wanted will become, to your mind, trivial, and will be disregarded, which is another way of saying that you ultimately will hitch your wagon to a star. And when you do, you'll move with lightning-like speed. Study, learn, work, develop a keenness of observation, step on the gas, become alive for yourself, and you'll pass it on to the other fellow. Get confidence, enthusiasm, and you're set up like vibrations all around you. And that's the theory of all life, as old as the world itself. Like begets like, a laugh brings a laugh, a good deed calls for a good deed, riches beget riches, love love, and so on. The old law of attraction, stated in Ampere's theory of electrical magnetism, is parallel currents in the same direction attract one another. And when you are out of tune and antagonistic, you put others out of tune and make them antagonistic, because parallel currents in opposite directions repel one another. However, don't get the thought that I have given you an oversized wishbone which will enable you to sit down and, by talking to yourself through the idea of repetition, get what you want, because it will never work. You have got to have the wishbone backed up with a backbone. And that isn't all. The wishbone and the backbone must be coordinated and synchronized to a point where they are running in perfect harmony. And when they are in tune, you will find personality developing. Then put action, energy into your scheme, and everything will move. Before you, wishbones need backbones. I take it that all of us have admired that intense type of person. I mean by that one who shows assurance, whose chest is out, whose head is up, and whose eyes are alert. It is easy to pick out in any organization those whose feet lag, whose shoulders droop, whose chins sag, and whose eyes are blank. Drifters, loafers, quitters. First, measure yourself, then study those with whom you are associated, and you can tell at almost a glance those who will make progress and those doomed to failure. Every physical movement tells a story. Each marks your personality, your body, and your mind during reciprocal relationship. Each action reacts upon the other. Your bodily movements, your facial expressions indicate the way you think. Now study yourself, your eyes in the mirror. Again, the person you see in the mirror is the one the other person sees. What kind of an impression do you wish to make on him? That too is up to you. You know whether or not you have personality. If absent or undeveloped, make up your mind to get it. You can, and you will, when you make up your mind and do as suggested herein. If you will develop that intensity of purpose, determination to get ahead, shortly, the determination will show in your eyes. You have heard people say that a certain person has a penetrating gaze, that he looks right through one. What is it? Nothing more than that fire from within, intensity or whatever you wish to call it, which means that the person who has that gaze usually gets what he wants. Remember, the eyes are the windows of the soul. Look at the photographs of successful men, study their eyes, and you will find that every one of them has that intensity. Therefore, I say, let it be reflected in the way you walk, in the way you carry yourself, and it will not be long before people will feel your presence when you walk through a crowd, and an individual prospect will feel that personality when you talk with him. The ayes have it. All of this is to explain that it takes an affirmative type to make progress, and the things I have pointed out may be utilized to develop you into an affirmative type. The negative type is sunk before he starts. Nature takes care of these situations through the old law of the survival of the fittest. We know what happened in the day of Sparta, when children were put on their own at a baby age, and only those who survived were given further chance. A negative type is a quitter, or another way, a quitter is a negative type. And while there is no point in going around hitting everybody on the nose just to start something, always remember it's poor business to let yourself be put on the defensive, as that is a negative sign. The person who wouldn't be licked can't be licked. If you are taken unawares and suddenly put on the defensive, snap out of it. Take the offensive, because if you remain on the defensive, you are beaten. Of course, to bring about this intensity of being, it's necessary to be in good health. I do not claim that the power of will is a cure-all for broken legs and all that sort of thing, but I do know that constant application of the theory herein advanced will aid a person in ill health. All of you have heard of Dr. Emile Coué, the Frenchman who was in this country a few years ago, telling people they could cure themselves if they would adopt his plan. His idea was that you should say to yourself every day in every way, "I'm getting better and better." Just ponder over that for a minute. Every day, in every way. There was nothing new in that idea, any more than there is in the ideas which I put forth. Simply another way of expressing the whole scheme. Reiteration, repetition, keeping up a thought most in your mind all the time. What you want, and which positive thoughts in turn are passed on to the subconscious mind. The great thing is that if you think of health, wealth, and happiness, you will have them all. It can't be any other way. We all know people who are always complaining about backaches, headaches, or other aches. The more they talk about it, the worse it gets. If you have an ache or pain, there's no point in talking about it. Similarly, there's no point in talking about your worries and troubles. If you don't talk about them or think about them, they won't be in your mind. It's the repetition that keeps them there. The philosophy of the ages. When a train roars across the track in front of you, you put on the brakes of your automobile, throw the gears into neutral, and idle your engine. You are on your way again just as soon as the train passes. But you certainly do not throw your gears into reverse and go backwards. Backwards are you in reverse. Compare yourself to the gears of your automobile in reverse. Place all fears, worries, troubles, aches, and pains, and when things go wrong, simply put on the brakes, idle your engine until you can clearly see the road ahead. In high is everything you desire: health, wealth, happiness, success. No power in the world except your hand can put the gears of your automobile in reverse. If your own gears get in reverse, remember you alone put them there, and you put them there with your own thoughts, because there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Therefore, as you think, you move either forward or backward, in high gear or in reverse. When you place yourself in reverse, worry, stew and fret, you are using the tap-tap idea to bring into existence the things you would most avoid. Some 3,500 years ago, Job said, "For the thing which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that which I too was afraid of is come up to me." Certainly they came upon him because he, in his fears, pictured them. He used the immutable law to attract them, just as you bring the good things which you want into reality by holding the positive thoughts constant. So do you bring the bad things, those which you fear, by holding the worry, the negative thoughts constant. If you have read this far, then you must realize that when you look after your thoughts, then your thoughts will look after you. Therefore, which will it be? Grief, trouble, ill health, worry, failure, or health, wealth, happiness, success? It's entirely up to you. No power on this earth, but you can direct your thoughts, and the way you use your will to keep your thoughts positive is a matter solely under your control. Therefore, lose no time in erecting a steel wall on the right side of the reverse gear. Close the door of yesterday, keep it closed always, then shift from low gear into high and stay there. Which will it be? Those of you with your own business, increase your business. Or if you're a salesman, your sales, as a result of your own thinking. When others tell you that business is bad, things are tough, going to the bow wows, etc., and you accept their thoughts and make them your own, your business will go to the bow wows. Have no doubt about that. When, as you talk to others with your chin on your chest, your feet dragging, in the front of a professional mourner, then you tap them down at the more you circulate and the more you talk, tapping with the same story, especially if you think and talk with an air of conviction. The bee thing can talk with an air of conviction, the more damage you do. You are setting up thought in reality fear vibrations, which are far-reaching. Fear thoughts are terrifically contagious and spread like wildfire. Conversely, as you direct your thoughts, visualizing towards increasing your business, your sales, your profits, etc., have no misgivings of your own. Keep keeping your mind close to the downward tapping thoughts of others and put enthusiasm, energy, and action into your program, your business. Your program, your business, your sales automatically will increase. You must keep in mind always that the intense fire of enthusiasm from within becomes a conflagration, which affects all on your wavelength. As long as you radiate it, the vibrations you set up with your powerful rays of enthusiasm inspire others, raise them up, build and attract business. Just as fear vibrations tap others down, repel and destroy. Close your eyes. It is an indisputable fact, irrespective of the times, that there is always business somewhere for the man who believes it exists and goes after it, but none for the person who is positive that none exists and makes no endeavor to move. Accept this experiment and be convinced. Any downward or upward trend in our worldwide economic scheme is due entirely to the way we think. When the great world leaders, the statesmen, the financiers, editors, publishers, economists, those who direct and influence the thoughts of millions in every part of the globe, permit depressed thoughts to enter into their scheme, then depressed thoughts and fear vibrations enter into the scheme of those same millions, and business comes to a near standstill. When the world's leaders change their way of thinking, toss out fear and move forward instead of backward, then the thoughts of millions change for the better. And as they think constructively, business improves. Thought moves the world. Stop and meditate over this for a few moments. You will realize that thought operating in reverse was the great underlying factor which brought on the so-called economic depression. Human beings are human beings the world over, whether in Prague or Timbuktu, all subject to the same emotions, the same influences, the same vibrations. And what is a community, a city, a nation, but merely a collection of individual humans? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As members of a community think, so they are. As a city thinks, so is it. And as a nation thinks, so is it. There is no other conclusion. We are living in a great crisis in human history. There is unlimited need for boldness and courage, but there is no occasion for dismay. On the one hand, there is the way to such achievements, to such wealth and happiness as mankind has never before known. Life, even as we know it now, tastes very good at times. We spoil it a lot for ourselves and each other by fear, follies, hate, bickering, suspicion, and anger. There is no need for us to go on spoiling it. We have not the health we might have. We have not a tithe of the happiness we might have. but it is within the power of the human will to change all that. H.G. Wells, England's great man of letters, said, "This power, this vital energy, or whatever it is inexhaustible, and it is so easy to use it if you only have the key." I completely agree with psychologists when they say that not many people really think. I hope that this message makes you think. If you dismiss it as nonsense, then I will know that you have never understood or appreciated how the great historical figures you may have heard of before, as well as many others you should be familiar with, made names for themselves or found places in the Hall of Fame. Change gears now. Real people, successful people, are those who made themselves, are not what others made them. After all, there are only two ways to move, forward and backward. Why not forward? Watch the down and outer on the street. His whole trouble is a lack of positive ideas. If he thinks he is down and out, he is. If he will change his ideas, he will be up and coming. All of us know that you can shift your gears if you only realize it. You've all been told how to keep out of reverse, and it is simply a mechanical process. For yourself, understand, and you will always keep your gears in high and move forward. A sale is affected by getting a prospect to think as you do, and unless you believe that the thing you are selling is good, then obviously you can't make the other fellow believe it. Believe in your goods. That is just plain common sense. So for those of you who may be selling, keep in mind what I have previously said about knowing your article and selling yourself. That is 99% of the success of selling. The other 1% is legwork, contacting the prospect. You should realize that the bending other people to your will or getting them to do as you wish is simply having them think as you think. And that is very easy. Charles M. Schwab said, "Many of us think of salesmen as people traveling around with sample kits. Every day, we are all salespeople. People we meet are buying our thoughts, goals, energy, and excitement. This is true for any job, but it's especially true when selling things, since you have to talk to people and sell yourself. I mean to talk to them in person when I say contact. Order-taking days are over, and now only people with the drive to succeed will do well. The one who survives is the one who lays the most eggs. The others will now sink. So, don't worry about taking orders. Remember that the only way to close a sale is to get the buyer to agree with what you believe. Meeting someone in person is the best way. You have to be in the same room as him. You need to be with him and see how he reacts, of course. There is an old rule of cause and effect that says you have to change based on the circumstances that come up in each case. If you really want to make a sale, which you have to if you want to achieve, remember my main point. Your subconscious mind will be flooding you with ideas, inspirations, and ideas that will lead you in the right direction. These people will show you how to get into a busy man's space and be alone with him. When you get there, stand tall, trust your gut, be alert, show him who you are, know what you're talking about, be enthusiastic, and don't be afraid. You're just as good as he is, and you may even have something he doesn't. Complete faith in the product you're selling. But if he is successful, he also has a personality, so make sure the touch is equal for both of you. Don't put him down, and don't let him put you down either. Get along with him and make him like you. When he likes you and you like him, you'll be successful. Don't forget that you're going to sell him. Working together makes you stronger. The esprit de corps that we were taught in the army made the American forces great. And the spirit of beauty and the spirit of working together to move forward is what will push us along. As long as this is taken in the spirit it was meant to be taken, you will be unbeatable. The world is yours if you get in tune and get other people on track. There is nothing that can be done when fear controls the mind. But once a man gets rid of fear, the world is open for business. Though losing a little cash isn't a big deal, losing hope, nerve, and drive is what really hurts, guys. Herbert N. Carson. Know exactly what you want and follow the steps given, and you will find more doors opening for you than you ever thought possible. Insights from the prophets are not interesting to me. I'm interested in progress. It will dawn on you, and you'll be able to see right away how to get what you want. It works for any line because the same rules and techniques can be used. The level of expert knowledge you have and how determined you are to do something are the only things that will allow you to reach your goal. Read and learn, practice, practice, and tap, tap, tap. Before I end, I want to let you know that in order for the conscious mind to get ideas from the subconscious or subjective mind, it needs to be open to them. We all know that the conscious mind is what thinks, feels, and figures out things. These things are not done by the subconscious mind. It only sends thoughts to the aware mind. You've heard a lot of people say, play your hunches. What are those hunches? Where are they from? They come from how the mind works in the background. For psychologists, you will soon understand the reason that to put the human mind in a receptive condition, you must relax. If you've ever been given a massage and told to relax, you know what I mean. Let the body fall apart. If it's hard at first, try it with your arms, then your legs, and so on, until your whole body is relaxed. Your mind will then rest on its own. Pay attention to what you want once that is done. Then hunches show up. Do what the little voice tells you and grab them. Do not fight or try to reason. Just do what you are told right away. To get in touch with your mind and hear your little voice, stop, relax, and think of nothing. This is what psychologists, mystics, and students mean when they tell you to do this. Be at ease, meditate, and go into the great silence, was said by Eastern seers. As you go further, you will also start to understand what they meant. Just keep meditating, and all of your worries will go away. The road ahead will get brighter, and one by one, your worries will melt away. Is there anything that makes things more clear? There was no difference between my message and what was said there. As I said before, I may have used different words to tell you about it. To explain how he came up with so many great ideas, the late Thomas A. Edison said, "I start by using what I already know, but most of my inventions are finished with ideas that just pop into my head." Fred Art and Charles Daly sold Mr. Edison's secret for making synthetic rubber. On Monday, Mr. Edison started to sink into a stupor, but Daly and Art were still pounding doggedly, determinedly concentrating. Tap, 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 tap at their experiments, and on Tuesday night the solution flashed out, says a newspaper story from October 21st, 1931. There was nothingness, but a little voice that spoke. It always does when you know what you want and go after it. If that little voice inside you tells you to ask for something, don't be afraid to do it. There's no need to be afraid. The other person won't help unless he knows what you want, so you need to ask. If you follow the ideas presented here and practice smartly, the voice will speak to you, just like it did for Edison, Art, Daly, and thousands of other people, or it will be yours. Claudius, who looked thin and hungry, told Brutus about the power of the Roman emperor and said, "The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings." As you know, William Shakespeare wrote that, and he rose above the ordinary by using this power. It's your fault if you are shy, behind the times, stuck, and a pushover. People, groups, and the world should not be blamed. You should be blamed. I'll say it again. Switch to high gear and get moving. Who is at fault? Some people may say that you are cocky, self-centered, or selfish because they don't fully understand you, but I don't care what they say. You know who they are, the scoffers, those who would block your path with rocks and other things. People who understand will be willing to help you and will be eager to do so. They will look at you to see what you have that they don't and try to figure out your secret. The smart ones will look at you to see what you have that they don't. Please hold on tight to what I've given you and start moving forward. In a book of living ideas, George Jean Nathan, one of America's most famous reviewers, says he has never met a man who was successful in life who didn't think of himself first, last, and all the time. Naturally, I don't know what Nathan meant by that, but I'm sure he didn't mean that a successful man is so self-centered that he doesn't help others. If you follow the theme as I've laid it out, you will not be driven to be cruel. Giving service pays off. In fact, the opposite is true. You will want to do kind, generous things for other people, like throwing out crumbs, as it were. His willingness to do something nice for you will make him want to do something for you as well. There is nothing selfish about this. It's just how things work. Do not forget about the rules of attraction. Like always brings like. People who do a job will get paid a lot of money. There's no trick to it. It's just the way it is. I control my own fate and lead my soul. What a person thinks in his heart, that is what he is. It's true, I know it, and I believe it. It is said that this little book will do everything for you, but you have to read it again and again until you fully understand every line and word, and then you have to follow the rules and methods with all your heart. The ideas given will work just as well as they always have if you are dead serious with yourself. Make them a part of your daily life.